big, warm welcome to everybody here for race 2. It's the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. My name is George Morgan and I'm going to bring you the live coverage here this morning. And as you can see, the sun absolutely glistening across this circuit here at Spa-Francorchamps. We've been very fortunate to have a wonderful weekend. 31.5 degrees track temperature, 20.1 degrees in the air as well. A bright blue sky with hardly a cloud in sight as well. And certainly in amongst the Ardennes forest, never a more picturesque sight. Certainly the spectators have been clamouring inwards as well. The crowds funneling their way into the grandstands to witness such a special occasion. And I'm sure off the back of what was a dramatic race yesterday, race 1, of course, of the Formula Regional European Championship, Paul Aron starting on pole position for this one for Prema. Looking to follow up from yesterday. He had a bit of a rough run though, of course, right in the fight with Sami Megatunif. Sami Megatunif, due to the battle in between him and Paul Aron, sustained a 5-second time penalty, but yet was still able to hold on to that podium, his first podium of the season as well. Paul Aron will certainly be looking to lead from the front and hold on, but he's got to face this man, Hadrian David, RACE GP, and he's been in great form all weekend. We alluded to the scraps that he had, certainly managing to obtain P1 spot in both test runs, in test 1 and 2, and then grabbing pole position, ready for the front row position for this race today. There's yesterday's race winner, Dino Beganovic, looking to once again pursue already this great streak of form that he's on, bouncing back from the disappointment at Hungary with another win to add to his locker, and that's 205 points that he now has. How about this man though? Gabriel Bortoleto started from the back yesterday along with Hadrian David due to the engine change that they brought into the car. He managed to fight his way all the way up through the field in absolutely devastating fashion, near enough very closely getting himself into the top 10. He wasn't far away. Tim Tramnitz as well, back again this weekend for Trident. Of course, they were fighting right in the midfield as well. Roman Belinsky also caught up in all the madness further on in midfield too. It was very much these two in the centre of it all. And the RPM team will also be looking for this man, Owen Tangavelu, to light things up from P6. Had a very impressive qualifying session himself, but back again this time for RPM. We had quite a few penalties dished out yesterday, of course, due to the red flag chaos that was caused after we lost Victor Bernier's car, the FA Racing car, as we can now see pictures of Eduardo Barrichello, another man who managed to grab his very first podium yesterday as well. But going back to Victor Bernier, his incident that led to the red flag, it would be Eduardo Barrichello, Paul Aron, Lorenzo Fluxer, Leonardo Fonaroli, Kaz Havercourt, Tim Tramnitz, Owen Tangavelu, Joshua Dufek, Santiago Ramos, Gabriel Bortoleto, Roman Belinsky, Marie Boyer, Hadrian David, as well as Matteo Capietto and Lawrence Van Hoopen would all get 5-second time penalties due to not coming in when the red flag was raised. Of course, Dino Beganovic didn't have to come in because he'd already passed the start-finish line when the red flag was indeed raised, so he was able to keep that P1 spot without having a time penalty inflicted at that point as well. Just to say, some of you may also be wondering what happened to Gabriele Mini yesterday as well. Well, it was announced by the stewards that due to a breach of the technical regulations in terms of the car after the scrutineering process, Gabriele Mini's car was declared not certainly compliant with the rules in place here at Formula Regional European Championship, so therefore was stripped of that P2 position and was then regarded as a DNF in that race. Of course, he had that little breakdown heading into bus stop chicane. The car didn't make it to the end, but nevertheless parking it up. It looked for a moment that he was able to hold on to P2, but due to a technical infringement, he wasn't able to hold on to that position. They're making their way out now onto the formation lap, and we will once again go racing here. The last race of the Spa weekend in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, and thanks to that win for Dino Beganovic, now he stretches his lead to 205 points, now 34 points ahead of Gabriele Mini, who is on 171. Remember, that gap was only a mere 9 coming into this event, but due to the fact that Gabriele Mini failed to finish due to that DNF, he has now seen that points gap stretched out further. Here is the grid. Paul Aron, as you can see, starting on pole for Prema, with Hadrian David and RSGP second, Dino Boganovic in third, Gabriel Bortoleto in fourth, the Brazilian, with Tim Tramnitz in fifth, and Owen Tangavellu in sixth. P7 goes to Eduardo Barrichello, with Leonardo Fonaroli in 8th place on the grid. 9th for Marie Boyer. Gabriele Mini starts from 10th. In 11th place, Roman Belinsky, with Joshua Dufek in 12th as well. Sebastian Montoya in 13th, with Sami Megatsunev in 14th place. Kaz Havercourt in 15th, with Lorenzo Fluxer in 16th place. Noel Leone starts 17th, with Santiago Ramos in 18th spot, with Lawrence Van Hoopen in 19th, with Matteo Capieto in 20th as well. Esteban Masson in 21st, with Pietro Deliguanti in 22nd. Hamdar Al-Kwabasi starts in 23rd, with Joshua Dirksen in 24th place. 25th goes to Francesco Braschi, with 26th going to Revez as well. Pietro Armani in 27th, with Nicola Marinangeli in 28th place. 29th went to Mattia Zagazzetta, and in 30th, Nicolas Baptiste. 31st position for Poitou Wisnicki, and Delano Van 't Hoff starts in 32nd place. Victor Bernier, after that spin yesterday, he's at the back of the grid with an engine change, 33rd place. So there you have it, folks. Those are the runners and riders heading into this event this morning. Of course, as I alluded to, bright and early here. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves wherever you are in the world, watching certainly this broadcast coverage. And we're looking forward to going green and sending the cars down through towards La Source. Who is going to be braver on the brakes? We've seen many big moments. And you'd imagine with the new push-to-pass system that was introduced at the start of the season, if anything like yesterday is to go off, we will see yet another cracker here this morning. But it's all down to Paul Aron. Can he carry on the pace? Of course, he did sustain a little bit of contact between him and Sebastian Montoya in the first lap yesterday, which led to Montoya venturing off into the gravel trap. There was some talk that there might have been some damage to that Prema, hence why he was certainly in the midst of battle right through the race. Of course, Sami Megatsunev had his number yesterday, managing to scoop his very first podium of the season. As you can now see, all the spectators getting ready, enjoying a fine weekend racing. Plenty to look forward to here at Spa-Francorchamps at the 24-hour Spa weekend. And it's a pleasure to bring you this action too, as we're now watching the cars now make their way up towards the start-finish line and into their grid positions as well. Paul Aron on the front row alongside Hadrian David with Dino Boganovic in behind those. Gabriel Bortoleto, can he bring that same pace that brought him to the dance yesterday? He managed to fire his way up through the field. And if he can bring the same essence again, without a doubt, he's got to be a huge contender for a race win this morning. Tim Tramnitz as well in behind. Tangavellu there in behind him too. But keep an eye on Eduardo Barrichello as all the cars now all line up onto their grid positions. You can just see the last remaining cars now lining up. And more and more coming through from the bus stop. You can just see them there trying to spin the tyres, get the heat straight into them. Grip, so important. We alluded to the Pirelli tyres this season, of course, enhanced grip levels. That's what they've been looking for. Victor Bernier just lining up towards the back now as well. And the pace car coming through. Green flags now being waved. The lights now going red. Third light, fourth light, and the fifth light. And it is pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Paul Aron gets away well, but so does Hadrian David. The two go in tandem, leading down through towards La Source. In behind, Gabriel Bortoleto got a huge job. Big crash, big, huge crash. Not quite sure who that was that got caught up there at the start, but as they weave their way out of La Source, there's a car with a broken suspension or a rear end as well. And that looks to me like it might have been Francesco Braschi in the mix of that, perhaps Pietro Armani as well. But the car's making their way through, up through Arouge and Rallyon. Paul Aron still holding on to that lead. Hadrian David now going side by side, looking for that race lead as they now work their way up through towards Les Combes. David hits the front now as Paul Aron looks to go onto the outside. Can he find a way through? Not this time. Boganovic holds on to that third place. Tramnitz now in fourth. Tangavellu trying to work his way through as well. It's all been a bit of a cluster at the start, and a safety car has been released. So now the cars need to slow down down, get into Delta, and we'll have to wait to catch up with the pace car as well. But there was a lot of damage heading through La Source. We've mentioned before, you know, you want to try and be brave on the brakes, but if you're too brave, you can end up in the rear. That's certainly for sure. But as we're now watching the cars now weave on the track, making sure they can maintain the heat levels in the car. Obviously, the last thing you want to do is lose tread, or certainly lose the stickiness on the compound. That will, of course, grant you that extra little bit of pace and grip. And incredible start indeed. Joshua Dufek, we're just seeing round Pouon there as well. But Paul Aron not able to hold back the force of Hadrian David at the very start. It was heading up the long Kemmel Straight, of course, that led to Hadrian David taking that lead. And obviously, that's presented the current picture that we have right now. Dino Beganovic, who coming off the back of a win yesterday, will certainly be looking to win again today if he does win here, because they are currently neck and neck in most wins between Beganovic and Paul Aron, his teammate. If Beganovic wins this one, he will, of course, take the most wins this season so far. And there we can see the sorry sight. Pietro Armani was indeed the car that got collected in that scrap. And in behind as well, Santiago Ramos as well, up against the barriers too. So I tell you what a feisty start to this race. As we're now taking a look at the replay now, very shortly, folks, we'll get off the start. And as you can see, it was a huge launch there from Paul Aron, and as well as Hadrian David, who met him toe for toe. But it all happened heading down through towards the source. We witnessed some of the cars there trying to go for that tighter line, as we can now see the getaway. You could argue Hadrian David had the better launch, in fact, had his nose in front heading through La Source, but thought better of it. Perhaps would have preferred the slipstream, and there's the incident heading into La Source. And then, of course, we had another one heading through the latter point. But here we go, is the face-on view that we can see of the cars making their way through. Some of them filtering into the inside as close as they can as they now weave to the outside. Oh, big launch, big shove in the back. And that's what sent Santiago Ramos into the barrier, effectively bringing an end to his race too. And here is the next piece of the replay too, as you can now see the cars filtering their way out, some venturing out to the gravel trap. There you can see certainly the collision further back, and then the upend in the rear. That was Pietro Armani going into the back of Noel Leon as well. The Mexican, unfortunately, now out of this race at this point. And a major shame for him too, as we now watch the cars filter their way up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. And this was the moment where, of course, the safety car was brought out, folks. But incredible moment here in this race. As we now rejoin the live action, you can see the cars being filtered into the pit escape road, of course, because they're trying to clear that debris and damage. There's no way the cars can make their way out through that straight leading up through towards Eau Rouge. So they have to take the pit escape and then come back out onto the track. But certainly a helter-skelter start. But Hadrian David will be pleased that he's able to follow up his qualifying visit with another great performance indeed. Leading the way now in second place, Paul Aron, who I'm sure will be looking to get up close and personal with Hadrian David. Dino Beganovic in third. Tim Travnit's got a great start as well, managing to launch himself further up. He, in fact, has gained a place on where he was previously. Eduardo Barrichello also up there too in fifth. Owen Tangavellu still very much in the fight as well. Gabriele Mini still in 10th spot, so not jumping any higher than where he started as such on this grid order, but nevertheless he will be in for the fight. Of course, still early days at this point, 25 minutes still to go here with the safety car. Now, a car venturing into the pit lane, that's Hamda Al-Kwabasi, who's now making her way through. Now, is there an issue with the car? We'll have to keep our eyes peeled as to whether they keep it in the pit lane, because obviously we're under safety car ruling. Maybe there was some damage sustained. We'll have to keep you informed, folks, of what's happening there. But certainly the other cars very much out on the circuit, as we can see them just spinning the tyres, getting the rubber nice and hot, ready for when we restart and go racing yet again. And there you can see the crane lifting and wheeling away Noel Leon's car. And the Mexican out of the race. Big shame for him. And would have no doubt wanted a little bit more as well. Gabriel Bortoletto, in fact, is also in the pits too. Doesn't look like he's going to come out, which is a huge shame, because, of course, he was one of the most electrifying drivers yesterday on the grid order, fighting his way from the back after the engine change. And unable, and there's the damage. And certainly, I believe that's Hamda El Koubassi's Prema car, and she is out of the car. A major shame for Hamda El Koubassi with that suspension damage. The actual wishbone itself looks like it might have snapped there as well, so huge shame for her. But there we go, heading through down towards the source. It gets very, very tight. And certainly a lot of contenders looking to prove themselves here on the grid at Formula Regional European Championship. And you can see her just conversing with her team, just declaring what had happened and how it happened on the track. A lot of consulting that happens in these garages. These drivers obviously have to maximize their performance and setups, and communication with their team is all the more vital as we now watch the cars head through the the latter part of this circuit. Still under safety car yellow flag conditions here with 23 minutes still to go, and Hadrian David leading the charge down through towards this next straight. Great to be here at Stavelot, as I alluded to before. 70,000 capacity here at this circuit, with the opening happening back in August 1921, as we can now see the cars coming straight into the pit lane now, where they will obviously make sure that they're not infringing on the clear up on track, obviously due to that yellow flag issue leading to the incident. This is the replay of said incident as well, folks, with the cars getting away off the start finish line down through towards the source. We will once again see the incident with Santiago Ramos, unfortunately suffering that collision, which led to him going out of the race as well. And here again, the face-on replay, getting so bunched, it's so congested down towards the source. Very, very tight indeed. You have to pick your spot, to say the least. Hadrian David getting off well, but there's the spin from Santiago Ramos after the collision, and rounding that hairpin bend before then heading up through towards Eau Rouge and Radion. This was the point where we saw the other collision further back as well. Pietro Armani and Noel Leone coming together after Noel Leone's suspension got damaged, and then in the rear came Pietro Armani, and led to him unfortunately being caught in the rear. Big, big shame, certainly for him as well, as we're now seeing the pan pictures, this alternate angle of said incident as they make the climb up through towards Eau Rouge and Radion, as they make their way through. And we will rejoin the safety car live action very, very shortly. But amazing to see, certainly the action already kicking off with a bang. There's the crane now lifting Pietro Armani's car. Still out on the grid, the car's still having to take that pit escape road due to safety reasons, of course. We can't have, obviously, the cars staying out onto the circuit while these cranes are at work. The marshals doing an absolutely terrific job this weekend, and have certainly done everything they can to ensure a good, tidy circuit ready to go racing. And as Hamda El Koubassi continues talks with her team, obviously she'll be very disappointed that she's not continuing racing this morning. But the pace car still very much out in force as they head in towards Les Combes. And 7.004 kilometers this circuit of Spa, of course, 4.352 miles and 19 turns that await the drivers, of course. When we hit green flags, it's when they'll be putting pedal to the metal, certainly for the second time in the race. And they will give it their all to see whether they can find their way further up the grid at this stage. And at this point, certainly with all of them out and about, we can confirm that Bortoletto is still out on track, we believe. He is still making himself known out on the circuit, so that's good news. So we're now watching the cars make their way down through towards Pouhon. And never a more attractive sight. These Tatas T318 chassis, of course, 1.8 litre four-cylinder Renault engines, turbocharged as well, 270 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. And obviously look forward to seeing the drivers get back underway, because we have got confirmation from race control the safety car is in this lap. So great news for everybody. Only a small amount of time under safety car ruling. Once again, the marshals doing a terrific job at this point to ensure that we do rejoin the racing action. So credit to them for that indeed, as they now work their way through this next right-hander. The crane's still hard at work, but they've managed to get the car cleared away off the circuit, and they will venture off the track themselves as now the safety car heads in towards the third sector. But making their way through, you can just see the cars now being backed up steadily. We saw a lot of this in qualifying, funny enough, heading out of Sector 2. Them all getting very tight and congested as they fought for clean air, ready to set their fast laps, and also at the same time not wanting to provide each other a tow as you can now see Hadrian David slowing down the pace, and he will be effectively the safety car at this point. He'll choose when to go green, and Paul Aron and Dino Boganovic are going to have to be hot on his heels and certainly respond in the right manner in order to try and come out on top at this point. Eduardo Barrichello still in 5th, with Tangavellu in 6th place. Obviously having a great weekend, Eduardo Barrichello getting his first podium yesterday. And we've got confirmation that the track is indeed clear, folks. So the safety car coming in this lap, and we will go racing yet again. And so we now watch the cars now make their way through the latter part of the circuit with just over 18 and a half minutes still to go. There we go, Hadrian David now starting to drum up the pace as he now works his way through bus stop chicane. In behind as well, Paul Aron, the Estonian, right on his heels too, as he now come down the next start-finish straight, down through past the line and head down through towards the source. We have gone and put pedal to the metal for the second time in this race, folks, in towards the source now, still in tandem, nose to tail at this point. Hadrian David still very much leads. Aron in 2nd with Dino Boganovic in 3rd place. Gabriel Bortoletto in 4th. He's still on circuit, which is great news, certainly, for all the spectators here watching on here at Spa-Francorchamps. Rising up through Rouge and Radion now. Still David on top. Paul Aron in 2nd place. Boganovic 3rd. Tramnitz trying to work his way through 2. We look further back. Megatunov now 13th place. Can he sort of rein it in like he did yesterday and come back fighting? Boganovic now going side by side with teammate Paul Aron. 2nd place now. Certainly now for Dino Boganovic, following on from yesterday's exploits in race 1. A sensational effort to overtake, heading up through the Kemmel Straight, leading through towards Les Combes. He is now in 2nd. An incredible move. Paul Aron weaving to the right-hand side. Bortoletto heads in through the outside as well, in towards Brachel's corner. Wheel to wheel through this portion of the circuit as well, as they now go side by side off the track there, Bortoletto. Well defended there, certainly from Paul Aron, controlling his side of the track, his portion of the track, as Barrichello scoops into the gravel as well, with Tangavellu all over his rear, as now we see more puffs of smoke, certainly, and there is car number 13 belonging to Joshua Dufek, just dropping down slightly and perhaps losing a few positions, maybe kicking up some of the gravel himself, heading through Jackie X corner, as we can now see more and more cars filtering through. Sebastian Montoya joined very much with Kaz Havercourt from Van Amersfoort, who enjoyed certainly the Hungary, his first race win of the season too. It's been a sensational start, a sensational restart. David still very much on top of Boganovic now. After winning yesterday, he'll be looking to go 2 from 2 this weekend at Spa. As they round through the next left, they will of course have the Blanchimont corner to take next, and still it is David out on top. You see the Van Amersfoort contingent making their way through as well, with FA Racing not far behind too, as now we watch David make his way through bus stop. The 2 Premers, 2 and 3, of course, in qualifying across the weekend, there was a moment where we saw Prema cars 1, 2 and 3 in their group, which was a grandiose effort, certainly from them. And Paul Aron was certainly pleased to see that the package the team brought was successful in that session. As we now watch the cars work their way through, Tim Tramnitz now around La Source. He's got Eduardo Barrichello hot on his heels. Gabriel Bortoletto, who certainly seems well versed to Spa, overtaking certainly left, right and centre yesterday. He's going to want to overtake now for a potential podium place. Another man looking for an overtake is Eduardo Barrichello, heading up through now through Rouge and Radion. Now Kemmel is next on his list. He's got Tim Tramnitz ahead of him. Eduardo Barrichello now side by side, looking to try and move his way up into P5. Can he do just that? Moving through Les Combes. He's got the pace. He takes the outside line. Tramnitz goes defensive. Not enough, though. Eduardo Barrichello, the Brazilian, now up into 4th place. A wonderful effort, and certainly the team at Arden Motorsport are going to be delighted to see that. Certainly Barrichello is going to do wonders for his confidence this season. His first podium coming this weekend, and certainly following that up with another positive performance. Oh, an incident as well. Here's the replay coverage. The FA Racing car coming to blows, and certainly a little issue there for both cars. Now that could sustain damage, certainly for the FA Racing car, as much as the one he collided with. So yet more action to watch. Very different to what we saw in the race yesterday. Of course, the main incident we saw was Victor Bernier spinning, which led to the red flag, but we've actually seen some collisions to kick things off in this Spa race at Belgium, as we now watch the cars now work their way through. This is a very tricky part of the track. We saw Hadrian David, in fact, our race leader, go off a couple of times at that portion leading out of that particular Les Farniers chicane. And if you dip your toes in too deep at turn 13, you can find yourself in the gravel trap. Unlucky number, certainly for some, as we now watch some of the cars now make their way through the next left at Blanchimont. Barrichello starting to draw slightly more ahead now, Tim Tramnitz, after making that overtake on the previous lap. Tramnitz has got another issue on his hands because Owen Tangavelu is coming in to join the fun as well as they now work their way through bus stop chicane. Further back as well, we've got cars getting closer and closer. And Tim Tramnitz, who's currently leading the rookie class battle, Owen Tangavelu is starting to draw closer to him as well. Leonardo Foderoli also coming into the fight. Foderoli came into the weekend, our championship leader, but we've got more and more cars fighting for that plaudit. Sami Megatunif was one of them yesterday because, of course, he came second in race 1. And that was the overall race as well. So big points going to Sami Megatunif in terms of his championship hopes as well. As we can now see certainly the standings up on the left-hand side. Tramnitz in first in the rookie standings. Tangavelu as well. Bortoletto, who's trying to defend now from Paul Aaron, who's right behind him. Bortoletto managing to hold on to that third place. So an excellent move from Bortoletto, following on again, as I said before, that spectacular drive from yesterday to move his car further and further up the field after that engine change over the weekend. Incidentally, coming into this race this morning, we had 2 cars also making engine changes. That was Delano Van Hoff and Victor Bernier. The car that spun yesterday leads to the red flag. He had an engine change too, which led to them starting from the back of the grid. So big credit to Bernier. He's already up into the 21st positions and fighting his way up through the field as well. Hadrian David now coming in towards the next right-hander. And he'll then have a left to take as part of the Les Farniers chicane. Dipped his toes in the gravel at this very point, but has managed it well so far, and is actually pulling away from Dino Beganovic as well. 1.3 seconds currently at the realm, and it's going further and further as Beganovic starts tailing off slightly. But don't count him out. We've still got just over 12 minutes of racing still to go. Paul Aaron in third as well. He's within a second of his teammate. Just over 0.8 of a second, with Gabriel Bortoletto still very much in the fray in 4th place as well. Remember, he was battling very much with Paul Aaron earlier on. Looks like they might have come to blows again with, as we now witness the cars coming through. Tim Tramnitz trying to hold back the force of Owen Tangavelu, who's been rapid all weekend. And add into the fact Leonardo Foderoli is on their tail as well, dragging along Marie Boyer and Gabriele Mini, who is looking to try and bring himself into the scrap too. As now the cars make their way down through towards the source here on this next lap. And they're still very much in tow. The gap thinner than a fly's eyelash between all of these cars right now. Nothing separates them at this point. Bortoletto, who's now officially registered as 3rd place now, ahead of Paul Aaron, and chasing down Dino Beganovic. He's brought the gap in to 4/10 as we now watch the almighty climb through Eau Rouge and Radion, and Bortoletto very up close and personal now with Dino Beganovic. And can we see that pace again unleashed here from Bortoletto, heading up now through towards Les Combes, 2nd place on the table. If he can grasp it, looks to the inside, gets the move done as well in towards Les Combes. Spectacular work there from Bortoletto, sees him up into 2nd place. Championship leader Beganovic could only watch on as he struck on by, and he's now down into 3rd with teammate Paul Aaron in behind him as well. Just over 0.7 of a second, just over 7.5 tenths in fact, as the cars now work their way around Brachel's corner and down through towards Jackie X as well, before they then take the down-in swinger of Pouon as well. And very exciting cornering here at Spa. High-speed sections, multiple heavy braking points as well. The serious heavy braking points at bus stop, which we've already seen lead to many a chance overtake as well. Of course, if you can get the speed right and the exit right, heading in towards the likes of Blanchimont, that very fast-paced left-hander, it could certainly help you. Gabriele Mini, remember, starting 10th. He's up to 7th place now as well. He's managed to move himself clear of Marie Boyer, who has been moved, well, certainly dropped down the field a little bit. And plenty of other cars out and about looking to scrap and further their prospects here in this race at Spa. As now we watch them make their way through Sector 3 and through the forests here at the Ardennes, and round in the next left. It is currently in picture right now as we watch the Trident car head down through towards bus stop. This, of course, being Tim Tramnitz with Owen Tangavello still very much peppering his rear end right now. And they're being joined as well by Gabriele Mini, who, of course, came into the weekend, as I alluded to before, 9 points away from championship leader Dino Beganovic. Of course, that's since dropped out to 34. And incidentally enough, up to this point, Gabriele Mini obviously leading the way in terms of group qualifying P1s as well. He has been very, very quick all season long. Unfortunately, can't quite translate that to a consistent race pace despite his last 5 races being sensational. And Dino Beganovic has also been sensational. The only misstep there from that Prema driver was indeed the Hungarian weekend, but he's come back bouncing certainly after that excellent race yesterday. As we now watch the cars make their way through, Bortoletto, you can see in picture in second with Beganovic hot on his tail. Paul Aaron there too, as we now see more side-by-sides as Gabriele Mini now moves up again, manages to dispatch this time Tim Tramnitz further back, as we now see as well further down Lawrence Van Hoopen going side by side with Roman Belinsky and moving up a spot too, so getting himself up into that 15th spot. So great move indeed for Lawrence Van Hoopen. Belinsky's going to have to try and pull it together in order to try and strike back at this particular point. Further back you can see Matteo Capietto as well in behind those, with Victor Bernier of course still out on track. Of course the victim of that spin that led to the red flag. He ran a little wide there. Of course you can take the wider line, but a lot of drivers do like to take that tight inside curb line as well, just to try and enhance it. Of course, with the grip levels on these Pirelli tyres, it's very much doable at this point as we watch now. Certainly the cars venture through the next chicane. Gabriele Mini still working hard to rein in the positions at this point. He's trying to close on Owen Tangavello at this point, who's now also trying to travel up and tackle that of Tim Tramnitz. This is a battle for 6th, 7th, 8th positions, with Fonaroli in 9th as well. As we watch the cars now head down the latter sector here with just over 7 minutes remaining here in race 2, as we now watch the cars come through down through towards Blanchimont, and this fast pace left that certainly can open up a few doors for you. Owen Tangavello, if he can get the slipstream and unleash it, he certainly will do. Heading in towards bus stop, has a look down the inside, not quite enough though to get the move done. He certainly did have Tim Tramnitz on his toes there slightly. Gabriele Mini, of course, watching all this unfold. Surely he might spot perhaps an opening or a weakness should that door be left wide open by Tangavello and Tim Tramnitz as they head through La Source now. This next hairpin, the big exit required as they now venture outwards now. They're so close, these three. And now, heading up through Rouge and Radion, Tim Tramnitz could be very much exposed, certainly with the power of the slipstream that we've seen, so efficient this weekend. And also getting a lovely rise up through Rouge and Radion was Gabriele Mini, who's now hot on the heels now of Owen Tangavello. It's going to be a battle potentially between these two. Maybe enter Tim Tramnitz into the fight. Could they go 3 wide? Gabriele Mini goes for the unthinkable, goes round the outside now on Owen Tangavello. Not enough. Owen Tangavello positioning the car absolutely superbly, but look at Mini on the outside. Beautiful move by Gabriele Mini, heading through that next right at Malmedy. He unlocked the door, went for the switchback on the outset of Les Combes. Sensational from the Italian, and he will certainly enjoy that. What a move by Gabriele Mini, and now he's chasing down Tim Tramnitz. A huge moment there certainly in that race, and utilising the slipstream, maybe a little bit of push to pass as well, getting that extra little bit of power and pace, and utilising those grippier Pirelli tyres as well to really move his car up through this grid order. And now he's ahead of Owen Tangavello at this point, chasing down Tim Tramnitz for a potential 6th place position as well. What a showing from Gabriele Mini so far, and he's got a huge recovery task on his hands, because obviously having that 2nd place taken away from him yesterday due to that technical infringement, he has had to come back fighting in this 2nd race as well. As they're now around this next right-hander, heading in towards the next section of the circuit. They've got Blanchimont to take. Tim Tramnitz, of course, leading the rookies' standings at this point. Tangavello 2nd, with Leonardo Fonaroli here in this classification too. Megatunef 4th this time. Of course, he topped it yesterday when he came 2nd overall, as we now watch the cars head through bus stop. Tangavello still very much there as well, but he's dragging along also some company as well, because Fornaroli is very much there, as well as Marie Boyer. As now Bortoleto, we believe, has managed to usurp that of Beganovic too for that second place, so he's now chasing down Hadrian David at this point as well. So looking further back, Gabriele Mini now confirmed to have overtaken Tangavelu, and he will now be looking to try and attack Tim Tramnitz. As we now watch the cars venture outwards, we just saw a little bit of side-by-side action between Roman Belinsky with Victor Bernier very much there too. There is Hadrian David, our current race leader, and he is clear by just over 3.5 seconds and has just enlisted the fastest lap on lap 6 as well, a 2:16.438. Not quite the same pace as qualifying, because we saw 2:15s all weekend long, but nevertheless a quick lap from Hadrian David and using the clean air to his advantage. There's Gabriel Bortoleto now ahead of Dino Beganovic, as now we watch the cars now venture through down towards Bruchel's corner. And there we saw in picture that being Gabriele Mini with Owen Tangavelu in behind, Fornaroli further back, Marie Boyer, Kaz Havercourt currently in 12th with Sebastian Montoya behind him too, as the cars now head down through towards the next left. The two Tridents now pretty much nose to tail at this point, with Owen Tangavelu in behind those, and heading down in towards the next chicane. In fact, Gabriele Mini managing to overtake that of Tim Tramnitz, and is now looking to try and move his way further and further up the field at this point. So a great showing from him indeed. He's also managed to dispatch Fornaroli, obviously in 9th place, and Marie Boyer in behind those as well for MP Motorsport. As we now watch the cars venture through the next right, heading out to Paul Frere, leading down towards Blanchimont. They'll have turns 16 and 17 coming up next, as they can take this high-speed section. An opportune moment for the push to pass as well, if they choose to unleash it. Sami Megatunif, our second-place driver yesterday, who we're just seeing being closed down by Kaz Havercourt. And there's a car off with a rear tyre missing, and that is Poitou Wisnicki, who is in the gravel trap. And once again, this time on the entry, heading into Les Farniers, it is going to be Poitou Wisnicki who is beached into the gravel, as now we see car 55 of Pietro Delaguanti now make his way through the outside, now through bus stop chicane, gets ahead as well, and manages to hold on to his position ahead of that of Roman Belinsky. Further back, we can still see the battling continuing, as now the Trident cars look to scrap onwards and upwards. Roman Belinsky trying to retake the position. A yellow flag, another safety car here this late in the race as well, with just over a minute and 40 to go. What a moment in this race yet again, and obviously this is due to the beach car of Poitou Wisnicki at the Les Farniers chicane. So the drivers once again will have to get down to Delta and try and put themselves in an orderly fashion. But what a race so far, overtaking left, right and centre. But Hadrian David still on top with a very good time margin. But that's all been removed away, as we can see Gabriel Bortoleto right on his rear, with Dino Beganovic in 3rd as well. It's going to be a huge task, certainly, if we can get racing again for Dino Beganovic to enlist a P1, but anything can happen in racing. As we now watch the cars head through out of the Jackie Expend in towards Pouhon. Hadrian David, a confident performance, as confident as he's been all weekend long. As I alluded to previously, the collective test 1 fastest, collective test 2 fastest. He was also fastest in qualifying in his group in that initial session, before then heading into this race now, leading the way and holding his own into La Source. There you could see the stricken Poitou Wisnicki, as the cars now steadily move their way through the next chicane at Les Farniers. And Paul Aaron, who wasn't quite able to certainly marshal the same effects that he would have got in qualifying, certainly couldn't bring it to the race to get himself into P1 at this point. But Bortoleto, who is currently sat behind Hadrian David at this point, is certainly sitting pretty at that, and certainly a great reward after his efforts in the race yesterday. He was spectacular from the back of the grid. Both him and Hadrian David, in fact, sustaining engine changes, both of them starting from the rear of the field. And they both worked their way through the grid order. And it's quite funny to see the two that have had those engine changes now spearheading the front end of things here in the Formula Regional European Championship, by Alpine. Beganovic, who's currently sat in 3rd place with Paul Aron in 4th. The two Prema cars still very much in the points section. And Eduardo Barrichello on for yet another very good race here at Spa, as the cars now head down towards La Source yet again. Still under safety car conditions here, folks. The timer has ticked down here at Spa-Francorchamps with +1 lap here at the circuit. And they'll now continue to warm up the tyres as they head up through Eau Rouge and Radion. But a wonderful venture as well for Tim Tramnitz, who currently leading the rookie classification. He has got Fornaroli right on his tail as well, the two teammates. And Trident have come fully stocked in terms of the rookie proceedings. They'll be looking to carry on this vein of form that they have been on, to say the least. A lot of buzz around the Trident garage. They were very much looking forward to Spa. And I had the chance to walk down to the circuit with Roman Belinsky yesterday. And he was certainly filled with confidence. He said that the first day wasn't quite ideal. He said he wasn't quite feeling that he was quite there on the pace, but said that he was looking forward to coming back stronger in qualifying too. And certainly race 2 as well, Roman Belinsky. Unfortunately, it hasn't quite paid off. He's now down in 19th, not up with his teammates, Tim Tramnitz and Leonardo Fornaroli. But nevertheless, a good weekend so far for that Trident team. As we can now see Płator Wisnicki's car being taken off the circuit. And we can now see the cars now venture through, still aggressively warming up those tyres, Beganovic and Paul Aron. And in further back then, we can see Owen Tangavelu, who has certainly been very good this weekend as well. RPM with a good visit. And in the points as well, Marie Boyer in 10th. And Sami Megatuniv, the two MP Motorsport cars in tandem. Kaz Habercourt representing Van Amersfoort, not quite hitting the heights that he experienced in Hungary. Unfortunately, Joshua Dirksen, 14th fastest or 13th place on this classification, with Lawrence Van Hoopen in 15th. Of course, Van Hoopen had that puncture in qualifying as well. And despite getting the tyre on and being sent out again, they weren't able to get the heat into the tyres quick enough in order to register a representative lap that they would have been happy with. But back in the race now and fighting with the likes of Joshua Dirksen and Matteo Capietto. But a great race certainly here on the Spa 24-hour weekend, and certainly the spectators here at the track are being gifted some wonderful racing, and very much like these cars that we're witnessing in the Formula Regional European Championship, they certainly do deliver with the new Pirelli tyres and the push-to-pass system that has been brought to the forefront here in this championship. But long may it continue, with only a matter of a few rounds left this season. We will, of course, be going racing for the last 3 circuits, being Red Bull Ring, Barcelona, and, of course, Mugello. And that's when the championship is going to get very, very tight. Of course, despite there only being 3 rounds left, you've got to factor in that there's 2 races a single round, which obviously provide the drivers with great opportunities to score points. As we now watch the cars now make their way down through towards bus stop. And as they do so, we can get confirmation, folks, the race will indeed finish behind the safety car as the cars now come through towards the straight. And heading up now towards the line, Hadrian David is your winner here at Spa in race 2, with 2nd place going to that of Gabriel Bortoletto. Dino Beganovic coming home in 3rd place. Paul Aron coming home in 4th as well. Gabriele Mini in 6th. Tim Tramnitz 7th. Fornaroli 8th. Great result for Tim Tramnitz in terms of the rookie classification, bringing it home and holding on to that position at the head of the rookie standings in terms of this particular race, and will go a long way to his credentials this season. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see what he can do, certainly heading into Red Bull Ring, Barcelona and Mugello. But the championship fight will certainly continue. Beganovic, though, giving himself a huge points leverage heading into the latter stages. But there's our winner. It is Hadrian David, picking up yet another win. He's already picked up 2 this season. That's his 3rd win of the championship so far. and puts him ahead, incidentally, of Gabriele Mini in terms of race wins. So he will be absolutely thrilled with that fact as well. And off the back of this, it means that Dino Boganovic will hold on to 4 race wins, equaling that with his teammate Paul Aron with 4 as well, as we can now watch the cars make their way through the circuit. The spectators watching on as we can see them all hustling and bustling around the paddock here at Spa. And we will be bringing you the results after that race here at Spa-Francorchamps. But wonderful, certainly, to see the cars all in action, and a wonderful win as well for Hadrien David. Here they are, folks. Hadrien David, your winner. The Frenchman scoops up the points here after 12 laps of racing. Gabriel Bortoleto in second, Dino Boganovic in third, Paul Aron in fourth, Eduardo Barrichello in fifth, Gabriele Mini securing P6, Tim Tramnitz seventh, Leonardo Fornaroli in eighth, Owen Tangavellu in ninth, Marie Boyer in 10th, with Sami Megatunov in 11th, Kaz Havercourt in 12th, Sebastian Montoya in 13th, with Joshua Dirksen 14th, Lawrence Van Hoopen finished in 15th place. Matteo Capietto finished 16th, with Victor Bernier in 17th place, Pietro Deliguante in 18th, Roman Belinsky in 19th place, with Levente Revez in 20th, Joshua Dufek in 21st, Esteban Masson in 22nd, with Francesco Braschi in 23rd place, Delano Van Hoff in 24th, with Matthias Zagazzetta in 25th, Nicola Marinangeli finished 26th, with Nicolas Baptiste in 27th, Pato Wisnicki, of course, DNFing after that incident, heading through the chicane, 28th place, 29th going to Lorenzo Fluxer, Hamder Al-Kubasi also in the pit lane as well. But what a sensational race. Certainly finishing under the safety car was a bit unfortunate, but I have to say a big win for Hadrien David in terms of the championship. Gabriel Bortoleto with the giant recovery after what happened yesterday with the engine change, inflicting the fact that he would have to fight his way up through the order, but he's got himself a podium this weekend to cap things off. Second place in amongst this classification, with Dino Boganovic, our championship leader, finishing in third ahead of his teammate Paul Aron in fourth. Eduardo Barrichello, another great performance this weekend with a 5th place to add to his 3rd that he got yesterday as well. So big points for Arden Motorsport, who I'm sure will be absolutely thrilled with that effort. Of course, there's a lot of confidence heading Barrichello's way, and a very popular young man in the garage. As now the cars head into Parc Ferme. There's Bortoleto on second, and I'm sure there will be all smiles in the RACE-GP camp as he climbs out of the car. And there you go. A little shake of the fist. He is happy with that result as well, with Hadrien David pulling up alongside him. Bortoleto will head towards his teammates. A few fist bumps, a little chicken wing as well. Tremendous. Great to watch. Here comes Hadrien David. And there you go, pointing. He's celebrating. The Frenchman's done it. Coming off the back of that engine change that led to the back of the grid start yesterday, but coming back on pole position to lead from the front and hold P1 as well. RACE-GP can once again celebrate. All smiles here at Spa-Francorchamps, and one they'll certainly treasure and enjoy as well. And back on the podium for a 3rd time too. But a great weekend. Boganovic will be pleased as well, because once again finishing ahead of Gabriele Mini, who finished in 6th place, will give him yet more points leverage. And there's Bortoleto now, just getting himself sorted out, helmets off. Very, very warm here at Spa this weekend. As I alluded to, the weather, barely a cloud in the sky. In fact, all we're seeing is pure blue as I look out of my commentary box, and some conversing between the drivers. And we're going to be bringing you some highlights of the race that we've just witnessed this morning. Of course, heading in towards Hadrien David's race win. Here we go. This was the highlights, folks. The start of the race was certainly chaotic as they made their way down through towards the source. It would be, of course, Hadrien David off the front row of the grid, managing to usurp that of Paul Aron, who held on to that pole position spot, leading round La Source David. And there was the incident involving Santiago Ramos, who found himself into the wall after being shunted from the rear, heading out of La Source. We saw more. There's the other picture view of Ramos heading into that barrier. The RPM car getting right into the mix of things too. And there, of course, the damaged suspension certainly leading to yet again more collisions, with Pietro Armani losing his front wing and also the suspension on his car after the collision with Noel Leone. This was the battle for second place, with teammates battling it out. That was Dino Boganovic and Paul Aron coming together through the Les Combes section of the circuit. And yet again, more drama, this time around the Jackie X corner, leading to cars coming through the gravel trap. Another incident, this time at bus stop, the FA racing car getting right close and personal, with more scrapping heading through Les Combes. That, of course, being between Joshua Dufek and his competitor as they headed through. That sensational move from Gabriele Mini, and he was on fire. Could only muster, though, the 6th place on this occasion, as we witnessed also Pato Wiznicki entering into the gravel trap as well. But taking the checkered flag was Hadrian David. It's been a pleasure bringing you all the action, folks. We'll see you again soon in this Spa-Francorchamps race. But a wonderful weekend so far here at Spa. What a race it was. And Spa has well and truly delivered on its promise. And a sensational moment. The paddock still very much filtered through, littered with people left, right and centre who are enjoying the racing this weekend. And as you can all see them making their way through the paddock. Hadrian David will be looking towards Red Bull Ring and Barcelona to continue his run, but no less, I'd imagine Dino Boganovic will have those very much centred on his mind right now. And obviously these drivers looking to secure the best positions they can possible. Prema also looking to secure the team's championship. They had a very healthy points gap leading into the weekend, and they look like they're going to continue their good run of form as well with the pan pictures. Hopefully we'll continue to see the good weather hit us at Red Bull Ring as well. Make sure you, of course, join us there. We'll have more action, certainly for the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. The championship is only getting hotter and hotter by the moment, and we hope the long may it continue as well. And it's been a pleasure, folks. Hope you've all enjoyed yourselves. I'll see you next time for yet more Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Take care. Goodbye.